The moment I stepped off the plane in Bali, I felt the weight of exhaustion and excitement settle over me. The warm air wrapped around my skin, carrying the scent of salt and tropical flowers. I had been dreaming of this trip for months, a perfect solo getaway to unwind from the chaos of life. The resort I had booked was nestled deep in the jungle, far from the bustling nightlife of Seminyak or the tourist-ridden beaches of Kuta. It was supposed to be peaceful, serene, a paradise. I should have known that paradise comes with a price. The drive to the resort was long, winding through dense forests and shadowed roads. My driver, an older man with deep lines on his face, barely spoke a word. Every now and then I would catch him stealing glances at me through the rearview mirror. At one point he muttered something under his breath. I leaned forward, asking him to repeat himself. "Jangan keluar malam." I frowned. What does that mean? He hesitated before replying, "Do not go out at night." It sent a small shiver down my spine. Why not? He did not answer. He only shook his head, eyes fixed on the road ahead. When we finally arrived at the resort, it was even more beautiful than the photos had promised. My villa was secluded, surrounded by towering trees and the distant sound of waves crashing against cliffs. I spent the day exploring, dipping my toes into the infinity pool, sipping cocktails by the beach, and letting the sun melt my worries away. By nightfall, a restlessness settled over me. I remembered the driver's warning, but surely it was just superstition. I was a seasoned traveler, not one to scare easily. So, ignoring his words, I decided to take a midnight stroll. The resort grounds were quiet, save for the whisper of the wind through the palm trees. A stone path led me toward the edge of the jungle, where the thick foliage rustled as if something lurked within. I told myself it was just the wind, just nature doing its thing. Then I heard it. A whisper. It was barely audible, a soft voice calling my name. I froze, my heart hammering. I turned slowly, scanning the shadows. No one was there. "Hello," I called out, my voice thin. No answer, just the swaying of leaves. I exhaled, shaking my head at my own paranoia. Maybe the cocktails were stronger than I thought. I turned back toward my villa and saw the figure. A woman stood a few feet away, draped in a tattered white dress. Her long black hair hung in damp strands over her face. I couldn't see her eyes, but I could feel them, watching me, studying me. I swallowed hard, every instinct screaming at me to run. "Who are you?" I managed to whisper. The woman tilted her head. Then, in a voice that sent ice through my veins, she repeated my name. I bolted. Branches snapped under my feet as I ran, my breath ragged. The villa was just ahead. I fumbled with the key, hands trembling, before finally pushing the door open and slamming it shut behind me. Silence. I pressed my back against the door, chest heaving. Minutes passed. Nothing happened. Maybe I imagined it. Then, from outside the door, the whisper came again. My name. I barely slept that night. When morning came, I convinced myself it was just exhaustion playing tricks on me, but I refused to step outside after sundown. Not again. The resort staff noticed my change in behavior. One woman, a housekeeper named Ayu, asked me if something was wrong. I hesitated before telling her about the woman in the white dress. Ayu's face drained of color. "You saw her," she whispered. "Who is she?" She glanced around as if making sure no one else was listening. "She was a guest long ago. She disappeared one night. They never found her." Ayu shuddered. "Some say she still wanders the jungle, calling for someone to take her place." My stomach turned. "Take her place?" Ayu's eyes darkened. "If she calls your name 3 times, she takes you." That night I locked every door and window. I refused to look outside. I refused to listen. But the whisper came anyway. The first time I covered my ears. The second time, I buried myself under the sheets. The third time, she was inside my room. I don't remember screaming, but my throat was raw when I woke up. Sunlight streamed through the curtains. My door was still locked. Everything was as I had left it, except for the footprints. Wet, muddy footprints led from my bedside to the door. I left that morning. I didn't check out. I didn't tell anyone. I just packed my bags and called a taxi. As we sped away from the resort, I swore I heard a voice in the wind, whispering my name one last time. I never went back to Bali, and I never ever ignore a warning again.